There's people offshore trading on Binance.
Actually, it's bananas.
With 20-to-1 leverage get wiped out on Saturday night.
Oh! Oh! It went to zero!
Is this going to go to 13 million over 21 years?
The Bitcoin price has bounced very nicely in the bull flag that we are observing since a long time. And the next days will decide whether this positive bounce, this positive direction will continue or not. And there are a couple of things that happened and that will happen that we should talk about on the positive side as well as on the risk side. So make sure to watch the entire video. Hey everyone, it's a patient hodler coming at you with another market update, a very quick update video. So if you enjoy these videos, please let me know by smashing up the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. But I am here in my hotel room in the US again, so no crypto morning coffee for now, but I want to talk about a couple of things that are happening at the moment. So first of all, Saylor went on CNBC talking bullishly about Bitcoin, giving a price prediction of $13 million and reminding us why we are in Bitcoin. So listen to this.
My long-term forecast is it's going to go to 13 million over 21 years.
13 million.
13 million. But what is it 5 years from now? You're in your 4-year calculus.
You know, it's been growing 44% a year with about a 40 to 50 vol. I would think it'll move on at 40%, then click down to 35, then 30, then 25, and at some point it'll be the S&P return plus 8%. Bitcoin's an expression in this view that you want to invest in an asset without counterparty risk, which means you don't want to be counterparty to a country, a currency, a city, a company, a commodity, or a culture, right? So people think it's a risky thing. It's all about people wanting to not take risk. They don't want to guess whether Picasso's or real estate in New York or NVIDIA stock will be higher in 10 years. They want to buy money. They want to buy 1/21 millionth of all the money in the world forever.
And I think the bullish thing here about this take is really the focus on the risk aversion. Because if you think about it, Saylor is absolutely right. People don't want to be in different stocks where earnings reports or sudden CEO decisions decide about the fate. They don't want to buy a property and then maybe find that there's pollution in the soil. They don't want to buy an apartment for rent and then having the risk of someone living in there that is actually not paying the rent, not being able to getting that person out. They do not want to buy a Rolex and then speculate on what the price is. They want something, as Saylor says, without a counterparty risk. And I think him putting that out on CNBC could make a lot of people understand what Bitcoin is actually about and could make people allocate money to Bitcoin that might have not considered this perspective yet. So I think that is very great. On the other side, Larry Fink doesn't comply because you see here in this chart that we have the third day of Blackrock ETF outflows. And if you didn't follow this closely, just for your information, BlackRock usually didn't have outflows when all the other ETFs had outflows, even though that probably the people investing through the BlackRock ETF have sold, which basically makes BlackRock buying Bitcoin whenever there's zero outflows on negative selling days. So that also means that whenever there is Bitcoin flowing out, that also means that BlackRock is actually selling Bitcoin. Now you could say this is a bearish take or this is something bearish if they're selling, but I have a personal theory about this. So you know when on Crypto Morning Coffee we discussed how the BlackRock ETF works, and then BlackRock is on top of these ETFs and buys their own ETF with their funds, so with their wealth investment funds. So I think they are buying their own ETFs whenever they can through those investment funds, whenever other people are selling the ETFs, so they do not have the Bitcoin outflow because they know where Bitcoin is going in the future. So they are buying it basically for the wealthy clients that are investing in these actively managed funds. But whenever the outflow is too strong and the demand in these higher funds is not there, you have a little bit of a so-called overflow of Bitcoin that is actually not needed by any financial product within BlackRock at the moment. So this is when there are a couple of Bitcoin, usually it's like 100, 150, whatever, like smaller amounts of Bitcoin that are flowing out from Blackrock. So I think that is also interesting because you can see the dynamic in the future that there are several layers on top of these ETFs. What is important to understand, in my opinion, is that the other ETFs, they do not, until now, they do not have the system. So they have outflows, which also means whenever someone says, oh, Fidelity is bullish and buying, Fidelity is this and that. Fidelity is nothing. They are only a vehicle to getting their wealthy investors to buy. So whenever Fidelity has an inflow, someone else used Fidelity to buy. Whenever Fidelity has an outflow, someone else sold their ETFs, and Fidelity's mechanism says, okay, dump the Bitcoin on the market, which is different from the setup that BlackRock has. But anyways, let's talk about a little bit more. So if this bounce is successful in this bull flag, then we could see the break to the upside, which would level us very quickly to 100, like the 100K. And that might not be the end of the bull market as well. But what could influence that? So there's two things. First of all, today there is the presidential candidate, Kamala versus Trump. And then there's also tomorrow the inflation data. So core inflation data, year over year and month over month inflation data, all on the same day. That is the 11th of September. So both events have a potential. It's not a guarantee, but have a potential to send Bitcoin to either side. Either if they make some discussions about crypto, Bitcoin regulation and whatever, and Kamala maybe also says something positive about it, which I doubt, or if Trump says anything that is unexpected, which I also kind of doubt. So this is probably the lesser event. But the important event is then the inflation data on the next day. And if that is coming in a way where you say, okay, this looks more that Jerome Powell gets a soft landing, then it could send the price to the upside. Whereas if something unexpected happens on that side, that either looks that Jerome Powell is way too late with the rate cuts, or that looks like that inflation is not coming down, then, which I also do not expect, by the way, then this could send Bitcoin to the downside. And then, yes, then if we were sent to the downside, then it could be that we break this bull flag to the downside, and then we are in severe trouble from a TA perspective. Other than that, I think the bull flag is intact. So I say the cycle is intact. I will stay biased bullish until I see otherwise. And if you look at this here, like all of these cycles in the projection, they have been doing or playing out well so far. Our last cycle got capped by broader market monetary policy, and that is a very big risk also for us right now. So you see the Fed coming in with the rate hikes at the end of our bull market suddenly ended the party for our last crypto bull market. So if the rate hikes ended the party in the last bull market, will the rate cuts start the party in this bull market? This is the big question that everyone asks themselves. And the question is also then, if the macro influence the end of that bull market, will a macro disaster also mean that we do not get a bull market right now? And I think it comes down more to the fact of global liquidity going up at the moment versus at that point when they started hiking rates, they were also tightening monetary policy. So global liquidity was on a downswing. So it all comes down, as I always say, to global liquidity and how the decisions are on this side. Now we see already that global liquidity is piling on, which it should play into the fact that the party is getting started once again and the bull market continues. But let me know in the comments below what you think. If the bull market gets started again, or if you're still biased bearish, let me know. And we will see in the very near future, in the very short term, how this all plays out. So wherever you are on the world, have a great morning, evening, day, night, or afternoon. I see you in the next market update.